Zeliangrong Statehood talks with Centre reported to be at advanced stage. On August 29, 2024, a significant development unfolded in New Delhi when the Zeliangrong Statehood Working Committee, ZSWC, held its 7th round of political talks with the Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA. According to a statement issued by the Zeliangrong United Front, ZUF, the talks on Zeliangrong political issues had reached what was described as an advanced stage. The ZUF's chairman, Pujenchui Kamei, also delivered a message on the occasion of the 94th Haipu Jadonang Martyrs' Day, where floral tributes and homage were offered to the legendary Naga freedom fighter. The ZUF statement revealed that a preliminary draft of a memorandum of settlement was placed before the negotiating table. Both sides examined the document point by point, and the discussions reportedly ended on a positive note. The central government and ZUF negotiators agreed to refine the terms and modalities in the upcoming rounds of talks. ZUF added that the future discussions would be more intensive and thorough, with the intention of arriving at an acceptable and lasting framework of settlement for the Zelian Grong people. This development, reported by outlets such as the Sangai Express and the Northeast Today, marks an important step forward in the long-standing political aspirations of the Zeliangrong community, a Naga group spread across Manipur, Nagaland and Assam. The move has also reopened wider debates within Naga politics, particularly given the history of rivalries between the ZUF and the dominant Naga group, the NSCN-IM. The roots of the conflict between ZUF and NSCN-IM. To understand the gravity of the August 2024 talks, one must situate them within the broader history of Naga insurgency and the complex dynamics between the Zeliangrong United Front and the National Socialist Council of Nagalim Izakmuiva, better known as the NSCN-IM. The Zeliangrong people, named after the tribes of Zeme, Liangmai and Rongmai, have historically felt marginalized within the larger Naga political movement. Their unique identity and territorial claims, particularly for the creation of a separate Zeliangrong state carved out from Manipur, Nagaland and Assam, often clashed with the pan-Naga vision of the NSCN-IM. While the NSCN-IM has consistently advocated for the integration of all Naga-inhabited areas under the banner of Greater Nagalim, the ZUF has focused on protecting the political, cultural and territorial rights of the Zeliangrong. This divergence in vision led to repeated clashes. The ZUF accused the NSCN-IM of dominating the Naga political narrative and sidelining smaller groups. In turn, the NSCN-IM saw the emergence of the ZUF as a challenge to its authority and its claim of being the sole representative of the Naga people in talks with the Government of India. Reports from the Hindu and the Morung Express over the years have documented armed clashes between ZUF and NSCN-IM cadres, especially in Manipur's Tamenglong district and adjoining areas. These conflicts not only deepened mistrust between the two groups, but also disrupted civilian life, with villagers often caught in the crossfire. The rivalry took on an ideological dimension too, with ZUF invoking the legacy of leaders like Haipu Jadonang and Rani Gaidinliu to stress their independent struggle, while NSCN-IM continued to press its demand for a single Naga homeland. The broader political context, NSCN-IM and the Naga peace process. The NSCN-IM signed a ceasefire agreement with the Government of India in 1997, leading to decades-long negotiations. The much-publicized framework agreement of 2015 between the NSCN-IM and the Centre raised hopes of a final settlement. However, as reported by the Indian Express and Scroll, the talks have repeatedly stalled due to disagreements over sensitive issues such as a separate Naga flag, constitution, and territorial integration. For groups like the ZUF, these delays created an opening. While the NSCN-IM continued to claim the mantle of Naga leadership, its inability to reach a conclusive settlement left smaller factions frustrated. The ZUF positioned itself as a defender of Zeliangrong specific aspirations, arguing that their unique concerns might be lost in the larger framework dominated by the NSCN-IM. This friction spilled into violence at times, but it also fostered parallel political initiatives. The ZUF's engagement with the Government of India under the Suspension of Operations (SOO) agreement in 2012 was a turning point, as it signalled Delhi's willingness to recognise the group as a distinct negotiating partner. Since then, the ZUF has pushed steadily for its vision of Zeliangrong statehood, while continuing to resist NSCN-IM's attempts at hegemony. Latest developments in 2024, the August talks and their significance. The August 29, 2024 round of talks with the centre marked the 7th such engagement between the ZSWC and the MHA. According to coverage in the Northeast Today, the discussions included substantive debates on the preliminary draft of a settlement, reflecting that the negotiations had moved beyond symbolic gestures and into concrete proposals. ZUF's emphasis on the occasion of Hai Puja Martyrs' Day also underscored the symbolic weight of the talks. Jadonang, who resisted British colonialism and envisioned a Naga Raj, remains a unifying figure for the Zeliangrong. By linking the political talks to his legacy, ZUF sought to assert continuity between past sacrifices and present negotiations. Meanwhile, tensions with NSCN-IM continue to simmer. Reports from August 2024 in the Morung Express indicated that the NSCN-IM leadership expressed concerns that multiple parallel negotiations by smaller groups like the ZU might fragment Naga unity and weaken the collective bargaining power of the Nagas. ZUF, on the other hand, countered that true unity could not be built by suppressing smaller voices, but rather by recognizing diversity within the Naga fold. The question of Naga unity and the broader implications. The talks have reignited debates on what Naga unity truly means. For decades, NSCN-IM has maintained that it is the sole custodian of Naga aspirations. But as groups like ZUF, NSCN-K, Kaplang, and others assert their independent claims, the idea of a singular Naga movement is increasingly being questioned. Political analysts writing in The Hindu and The Wire have pointed out that the multiplicity of negotiating groups complicates the peace process but also reflects the ground reality. The Nagas are not a monolith. Each tribe and subgroup has its own historical grievances, territorial claims, and leadership traditions. The challenge for Delhi is to balance these competing demands without alienating one side or appearing to favour another. In this context, the ZUF Centre talks represent both an opportunity and a risk. On the one hand, recognising Zelian Grong aspirations could help address long-standing grievances and prevent further marginalisation. On the other hand, it risks creating a precedent where multiple groups demand separate settlements, thereby diluting the possibility of a single, comprehensive Naga peace accord. The fight between ZUF and NSCN-IM, current ground reality. While overt violence between ZUF and NSCN-IM has reduced compared to the early 2010s, skirmishes and mutual hostility persist. Villagers in Tamenglong and Nunni districts of Manipur have occasionally reported movements of armed cadres, with both groups seeking to maintain territorial influence. Security analysts in reports carried by the Northeast Now in mid-2024 suggested that both groups were quietly bolstering their positions even as political talks continued. For ZUF, maintaining a visible presence on the ground is essential to demonstrate that it represents a real force. For NSCN-IM, preventing ZUF from gaining legitimacy is part of its strategy to remain the primary interlocutor with Delhi. The August 2024 talks thus cannot be seen in isolation. They are embedded within a landscape where political negotiations coexist with shadowy armed maneuvers, local competitions for legitimacy, and a broader struggle over who speaks for the Nagas. Analysis: the road ahead. The developments of August 2024 highlight the complex crossroads at which Naga politics stands. The ZUF's progress in talks with the centre is significant because it demonstrates Delhi's willingness to engage with groups outside the NSCN-IM. It also reflects a recognition that the Naga issue is not a monolithic problem but a mosaic of overlapping identities and aspirations. However, this approach carries risks. Engaging with ZUF separately could be seen as undermining NSCN-IM, which still commands a large following and remains central to any long-term settlement. At the same time, ignoring ZUF would perpetuate a sense of exclusion among the Zelian Grong people, which could fuel further unrest. The broader impact on Naga unity is therefore double-edged. While it is possible that a settlement with ZUF could serve as a model for accommodating other subgroups, it could also entrench divisions if perceived as piecemeal appeasement. The challenge for Delhi, as well as for Naga leaders, lies in crafting an inclusive framework that respects diversity while fostering a shared vision. Another factor is the regional dimension. The demand for Zeliangrong statehood cuts across Manipur, Nagaland and Assam, raising sensitive questions of territorial reorganization. Any move in this direction is likely to trigger opposition from affected states and could ripple into broader northeast politics. Delhi's cautious but deliberate engagement with ZUF indicates awareness of these stakes. In conclusion, the seventh round of ZUF Centre talks in August 2024 represents a notable step in addressing Zeliangrong aspirations. Yet, the path ahead is fraught with challenges. Reconciling